Good evening all, and give it a few minutes and we'll start the presentation. Can someone let me know that you can hear me okay, please? Thanks, Holger. Brilliant. Thanks, Eduardo. Hi mate, how you doing? Okay, I think we're close enough now. People are going to be joining, I would think, as we go along. But for those of you that are here already, if you've got any questions concerning ProATC, anything at all, jot it down and I'll do my best to answer it and put you on the right track. Tonight I'm going to be... I'll go through the basics for those of you that have just started using ProATC, and then I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. We're going to do a flight after the initial presentation of the software itself from Prestwick to Stansted, and during that flight, with any luck, we'll be encountering holding just before arriving at Stansted. What I'll do, I'm going to talk you through how you set a hold up and how you successfully navigate a hold, come out the other side and land, all being well. So we'll get to that a little bit later, but as I say, initially I'll just run through it. But please, if you've got any questions, ask them in the chat box and I'll answer them as we go along. Okay, first and foremost, if we go to the ProATC help, you've got a manual here that you can use. Now, the warning that I gave regarding installation is in this. Oh no, it's not, sorry, it's in the forum. But that let me just bring that up quickly. Two ticks. Okay, this really important that you install ProATC according to these this advice. I any of you that are having a few glitches with it, this could well sort them out. So basically, if you've got it installed now, just installed it or had it installed for a while, uninstall it. But before you do, if you've put the voices in, then I suggest that you, right, let's go into ProATC, go into the sound folder and copy ATC, controllers, copilots and pilots into a separate folder. This is before you uninstall, and only if you've installed the extra voices. If you haven't installed the extra voices, then obviously it won't matter to you. So do that first, because when it's finally installed and you've done your first flight, you can simply copy these folders back into the main sound folder and it will continue as if you'd never left it, which is a big bonus. Okay, so that's that part. So uninstall it, make sure that the I'll just show you what these, get rid of that, go into options. So in flight, you just want these two boxes ticked. So that's contact controllers, confirm instructions, and servcom radio. Make sure they're ticked. And then you go into sound, and all you want ticked in this one is the top one, AI communication with controllers. Save that and then do a flight. Do one flight, and then you're free to add your voices back if you had voices before, and then install the AirAC, which you obviously do through here. Everybody clear with the AirAC installation? Okay, if we get a question on that, I'll tackle that later. Okay, anybody have problems with creating flight plans? Or editing flight plans? Let me touch on this. A couple of people have said about what's the best way to create a flight. I said I always copy and paste, and that when I've imported in the past I've had problems, and that's been routes that have come out wrong. So I always suggest that you copy and paste, and what I do, let's shrink that down. I create the flight. Oh, wrong software. I knew that would happen. I create the flight using SimBrief, and then I download. Let's go to SimBrief and I'll show you. Right, let's get rid of that. Okay. So when you create a flight, let's go to the one that we're using tonight. I simply, the reason I do that, I copy the flight plan from here and paste it in here, and that way I can double check that the flight I'm pasting in is the correct route. Where did we go? So I double check the route with this so that I know I've got exactly the route that I want. So Luco direct Z248 Osmeg T256 DCS and then UL612 Calder direct to MCT Manchester, and then from Manchester then we get the star. So in this part we get the SID and then the star, so that makes up the rest of the, but I know that I've got exactly what I should have in that. That's the reason that I copy and paste. Right, let's get rid of that. So that's the route we're doing tonight. We start off at Prestwick, and then hopefully around this point there should be a hold. Having said that, if you go to options, in flight, and holding probability, I've set at 100%. Still doesn't mean you're going to get a hold. It's more probable, but it doesn't mean 100% that you'll get a hold. But it's just, you know, luck of the draw, I suppose. Let's talk quickly about this for those of you that are new. Go through them one at a time. Never tick the top one. Always assign waypoints. It's not recommended by the developer either. Number 2, try to assign the runway used by AI. Yes, definitely. And that means that when you're given a runway, 90% of the time, 99% of the time, the runway you're given will be the runway that is being used by the AI traffic. So you won't be in opposition to them when you're flying out or flying in, for that matter. That I normally, if you tick that, then when you set your heading in the cockpit, I should have unticked that before. It points to where the gate is by the heading, so it sort of throws you out a little bit. Manual descent initialization's up to you. If you tick that box, you will have to ask for the descent. Sometimes that's a good thing, because depending on what altitude you set, if you can decide when you want to descend, so it can be earlier than normal or later than normal. It's up to you. I find that ProATC gives you fairly early descents, which I think is quite good, really, because it gives you plenty of time to set up and prepare. So I leave that unticked and let ProATC tell me when to descend. Change the assigned approach. This is entirely up to you. It's more realistic. If the wind changes en route, then ProATC will give you another runway, the runway that the AI is now using, which is obviously a good thing. You can also ask for a different runway, but only once you've reached the star and you've been given the runway that you're landing on, then you can ask ProATC for a different runway, or even a different star if it comes to that. Insert a vector waypoint, yes, because it always puts you 90 degrees off of the final approach fix. And advanced approaches, well, I use charts anyway, but I've not found any difficulty with the with using this tick, so it's obviously, again, that's up to the individual. Holding probability, with obviously the lower it is, the less chance you'll get a hold. The higher, the more chance you'll get a hold. This is the text at the top of the screen. So you can pick different colours. You can have it. I always use green, so that's up to you. And this is the second, how much time it will display for. So 20 seconds is the default. I've left it at that. You can save the flight situation. I've never used this, so I can't honestly comment on it. I always complete my flights and always start a fresh one. So if you could, by all means, try it and let me know how you get on. Clive, I don't know. That's what the developers asked us to do. I don't know what the reason is, but it does make a difference. So that's what I've done, and since I've reinstalled it and reinstalled the voices, it's definitely been running better. Okay, back to the right, Copilot support. Now, I never use the Copilot support apart from contact controllers and servcom radio, and that means like when they ask you to change from to tower or ground, it's done automatically. You haven't got to faff about trying to set the right frequencies. I use ProATC, as those that have watched my videos know, so I've never used the Copilot. By all means, give it a try, and what I suggest, the way you use it, I'll tick the ones that I would set if I was going to use it. So configure lights, set gear up and down, set flaps and spoilers, announce positive climb. You could set that as well. That would be I always set the nav radios myself, but that would be up to you. And in the holding I would set those myself. So yep, that's what I'd set if I was using the autopilot. But obviously, you know, suck it and see, give it a try and see what works for you. If you're using FS Crew, then you're obviously not going to need this anyway, but it's really handy for those of you that would like Copilot support but haven't yet got hold of FS Crew or its equivalent. Right, so that's that. You can change the keys to whichever you want. I've changed all mine to control plus 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Apparently P3D in its last iteration from 3 to 4 changed the way it was handling the key strikes apparently, and it caused some problems, so it was recommended that people use control plus whatever key they wanted, and it works fine. There's no problem at all. You might have to press it a couple of times to get it to stay up, but it does work fine. Right, I've got a question, hang on. Can you change those Copilot options whilst in mid-flight? No. Right, be careful of this, because you cannot, once you're flying, you cannot access the options at all. So make sure you've got everything set before you go. Shut that down a minute. Right, where were we? Options, that's it. So I think that's covered that page. Okay, let's quickly go over application. Oh, before we do that, let's make sure that this box is crucial. Obviously, make sure that it's set to your flight simulator. So it's FSX you're using, make it FSX. P3D, then set it to P3D. That's pretty obvious. You can change the style, black, default. I don't think I've ever changed this, to be honest, but yeah, I'll leave it on that, the one it was on. You can change all the colours, etc, etc. Start with the last. So if you want to expand it, then just, you know, set it to how you want, and it will start with the last window that was opens if you tick that box there. Automatically check for updates. Well, the last update was 1.9.2.5, so as far as I know there's not going to be any more for a while, but don't give up hope. The developer was badly injured and was unable to has been unable to program for a while, but that's not to say that he won't get back into and if he sees the software being used, which it is, then you know, hopefully he'll get back into it. Okay, so that's that. We've done in flight. Folder paths, right, make sure it's set to the correct. Someone had a question about V5. It works with V5. I've used it with V5, no problem. I didn't faff about changing the XML file. Clive said that you can change the XML file and it will point straight to V5. You can do that. I just aimed it at V5 and it was fine, didn't have any problems. Don't forget to, if you've just installed V5, don't forget to make sure make runways and the other file is in the root directory of V5, so that when you run make runways from ProATC it runs. Otherwise you'll just get a message to say it can't find it. Okay, that's that one. Make sure the path's set. We've done that. Right, these are the aircraft that are already in ProATC, but they're just names. So for instance, I've got this one, which is the Aerosoft Airbus X. I've got it set to the FS Labs. As long as you point it to the correct folder, doesn't matter what it's called. As long as you remember when it comes time to tick that box what the folder is you've set, then it's fine. The Mad Dog's in here already, so if the 9 times out of 10 the plane's already here, the routes, the folders are found. You don't have to look for them. I've also set the 777 to the 747, and yeah, so you know, just use any one that suits you really. Okay, that's the folders. Any questions on that? No. Make sure you set your weather. You can't tick the box until you've actually set the folder, and when you've set the folder the box will automatically be ticked. You can, it will read Opus, Rex, Active Sky obviously, FS Global, and you can also download the NOAA meters, so that is real world weather. Sound set to however you want. I've got it set to 100%. obviously sometimes the volume does fade in and out sometimes, but since I made that change in Windows it's not been as bad. You can set it to a selection of either ABC, all phonetic, or phonetic and alphabet. I've set it to all phonetic on all of them, which I think is more realistic, but you set it how you want obviously. You can change the colours of the map. I've not really, I mean, yeah, the water should be blue and not green, but there you go. Night mode, yep. Right. Oh, there we go, there's another one there. So you can set it to whatever you want basically. I just leave it on default, don't really make any difference. Right, so that's the options. Anyone got any questions about options? Good. Following along so far, excellent. Okay, now I'm going to just go into detail a little bit more on the holds and how you'd set a hold up. You can actually set a hold up. This data tab is actually available during the flight, so you can get to all of this during the flight. And I've not tried it, but you could probably, if you forgot to change the voice before you started the program, you could probably change it on the fly while you're flying. So I haven't tried. I'll have to try that and see if it works. Right, so if you want to set a hold, obviously it's stars. Select the airport. I'll use the one that I've already set so you can see what I've done. So it's actually, I think let me just check something quickly. Yeah, I think I've got to put a hold in here. We'll see. Let's have a look. So select airport, EGSS, select. So here we are. Now obviously you're not going to know which star until you get cleared. So I'll show you what I do, and this pretty much. So we're coming from the north. So what would we be getting? We'd be getting that one, possibly this one, although it's unlikely because we're coming this way. So we'll be coming from here down here. So the star we're going to get is going to be that one, or Utah I think is more likely, to be honest with you. Anyway, so let's bring up the charts. Oh, that's EG. Right, let's have a look. New flight from SimBrief, EGBK. That's it. Right. Okay. There we go. Law 3G. So that's going to be the. This is very handy. Look, it overlays the chart on the. Now I've set a hold, if I'm not mistaken. There we go. That's better. Law 3G. So there we go. There's the hold. Bombo. Right, now this is really important. You get the hold from the chart. Where are we? There we go. Bombo. So we need to set that 271, which it's set with a reciprocal of 091. And you might or might not get. When we get to the hold, should we get it, I'll show you a little trick, because sometimes you find that the hold on here is disjointed from the hold on here. In other words, you have to cross waypoints in this circle that you're flying, the hold that you're flying, and that you're approaching on a heading of 271, and your first waypoint on the hold will be here. Once you reach that, it will switch to here, then here, and then here. So you'll go round. Now, in order to successfully fly the hold, you've got to meet the criteria that you set up with this hold. So you've got to be on the correct heading. You've got to be, let's bring that hold up. You've got to be on a heading of 271 initially. You've got to be turning in the correct direction, which in this instance is left. You've got to be at the correct speed, which is 200 knots or less. Not too much less. I normally go 1 knot under. You're entering the hold is not a problem, but your exit is crucial. So once we enter this hold at 10,000 feet, we'll then be asked to descend to 6,000. You've got to be at 6,000 feet at 200 knots to be able to guarantee that you'll be passed on for the approach. If any of those are out, you won't be. So if you're flying along and your altimeter says 6,021, just drop it down a touch to say 59. Let the aircraft settle. Make sure you'll be like, and then you can put it up to 6,000 again. And the same with the speed. If you're over 200 knots, you won't get released from that hold. You've got to meet these criteria. They're absolutely crucial. ProATC is a piece of software and it has rules, and if you fly by those rules, you'll never have a problem with it. What it is not is an AI. It can't perceive what's around you, how you're flying the aircraft, what altitude. I mean, it can tell what altitude you're at, obviously, because that's in the programming, but it's only telling you, asking you to follow those rules, and if you follow those rules, you'll have no problems with it. So is everyone clear on the holding so far? I'll explain more once we actually start flying it, and then we'll see. So there we go, that's the hold at Bombo, which is just prior to our final approach. I think the star starts at Clippy, if I'm not mistaken. No, or is it? No, the star's Laurel. So yeah, so it's just before the star, I think. Anyway, any questions on that? Anyone got any questions on that? I'll you know, you want a bit more info, then contact me and I'll go through it with you. Not a problem. Right, so let's just drop that down, get rid of that for a minute. So okay, we'll start this flight and just go through it. Like I said, any questions? Yeah, there's no, I think it's very random, Clive, as to how many turns you do in the hold. If you get the parameters correct, 2, 3 maximum, I would say, before they release you onto the approach. But let's see what happens. I'll fly the route and then we'll see what happens. So I'm going to just switch this out now.
Back from the walk around, everything looks good.
Just in case anyone, when I talk about the boxes being ticked, this is what I mean. So if I was flying the Airbus FS Labs, I would be ticking this box. Now, because the PMG 737 is already in here, it automatically ticks that box for me, and it would do that with the Leonardo and any other. If it was a 777, it would do that. I think if I'm correct in thinking, if you change the XML, it will also automatically switch to the aircraft that you're in, but not 100% on that. But it's no big deal, just ticking that box. Right, so that's that.
Echo, Golf, Papa, Kilo, airport information, India, 1820, Zulu, weather, wind, 0,
Well, you should hear the 80s come straight
visibility,
on.
10,000,
Don't
sky
leave it
condition,
too
few
long
clouds at
before you change
1,004,
frequencies.
2,800.
Sometimes you'll hear the ATC straight away, and sometimes you won't. You can press 1 for clearance.
Clearance delivery, Ryanair, 53903. Parking position, Terminal 1, Gate 2, with the 80s for request clearance.
Ryanair 53903. Roger,
So you know that you've connected okay with the SIM,
flight level 230 within 10 minutes after departure.
because you've got your clearance and you've now got your runway, and in this case we've got vectors.
Cleared to Echo Golf for Park Kilo via vectors. Climbing to flight level 80. Expect flight level 230 within 10 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 123.05. Squawk 3166. QNH 1013. Ryanair 53903.
Yeah, unforgiving only if you skip the rules. Can be a bit of a pain.
120.4. Ryanair 53903.
Correct there, just crossing the control zone boundary now, no height restriction. Yeah, no further height restrictions on zone 4 zone. So that report passing 2,500.
Yeah, it can be a bit of a pain when you first start up. You might have to click that frequency button a couple of times. But once it's going, it's on that side of things, it's pretty good. You don't lose connection once it's going. Right, now the rest of it is up to you, because you've now got to follow the instructions that you're going to be given. So we're going to be vectored away from, we've got no SID, it's just vectors. So I've already I've already put the flight plan in, I do believe. Oh no, I haven't. Oh, there we go. Right, so it's EG PK. Request flight plan. EGPK to EGSS. Select that. Wait for that to load.
Tombstone 40 line, vacate next right, into the apron of Victor, parking stand 8.
Right. Load the flight plan. Put the flight number in, which is 3166. Activate the flight plan. Now the position's ready to be.
Monitor radar
So first
display.
and foremost we'll
Go around. Wind shear
ask for our
ahead. Wind shear
performance
ahead. Wind shear ahead.
initiation 6.9. We've got 6.9 fuel. Right, we'll press that. Get rid of that for a minute.
Veteran 43, proceed to Sierra.
Right, that's our performance info inserted. That looks good. So we just got to find the wind. So if you're using, you probably know this already, but if you're using the weather program, ASP3D, which is what I'm
Ryanair
using now.
5393.
Control F11
3166.
brings up the weather on the
3166. Ryanair 5393.
oh, that's another thing. I've got a altitude of 23,000, so
Hi, here's the fuel.
Okay, thanks.
Anytime.
230. Let's change that. And the wings at 24,000 or 130.37. 130.
ET639, taxi uniform, only point Alpha 2. Uniform Alpha 2, runway
37. Right, that's that done. Now we're flaps 5. The positioning, which is 6, 7. Okay, right. So now we want the departure, which is
vacate right,
runway 3.
Fuel checks within 3%.
And no SID because we're going to be vectored. And I'll put the departure, the arrival in as well, which is ILS 4. Law 3G, that one. And Laurel, I do believe. Yes, Laurel. That's the transition. Okay, so that's our route sorted. Now we've got our takeoff speeds. Okay. Right, just set the sort the cockpit out. I'll be back shortly.
Vacate next right, enter the apron at Victor, parking stand 11. Next right, Victor, 1142.
I've always made a habit of this, I don't know why, I don't think anyone else does it, but I've always, directly I've switched on the flight director, the route's set, everything's ready, I just click the VNAV and the LNAV, just to make sure the lights come on, and I know that when I switch the autopilot on, everything's going to run. Just a little trick that I use.
Ryanair 5393. Squawk 3166.
Okay, start the pre-flight checklist.
Ryanair 5393.
Pre-flight checklist, please.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Navigation transfer and display switches. Normal. Auto. Window heat on. Pressurization mode selector. Auto. Flight instruments.
Heading 123. Altimeter 1013.
Checked. Parking brake.
Set.
Engine start levers.
Cut off.
Pre-flight checklist complete.
Danny, I'm not sure what you mean. What do you mean ProATC X? No, this is P3D version 4.5, but it works in version 5. I've used it. Works the same, no problems. No, Clive, this we've been assigned a vector. We've not been given a SID, so we're going to be vectored. So basically that means just follow your flight plan. Hayden, I'm not sure what's causing that. Are you using any other software with it?
Touchdown 40 Mike, vacate next right, into the apron at Victor, parking stand 8.
I mean, I've had it crash. I used to have it crash when I used EFB Avlasoft EFB version 1, but not so much now when I use version 2. But you know, sometimes it conflicts with other software that you're using.
Are you ready for the departure brief?
Go ahead.
Okay, it's going to be a standard pushback and start off the gate. Taxi route will be assigned by ATC. It'll be a left seat takeoff using rated thrust, planning a flaps 5 takeoff. Anti-ice will be off. In the event of a malfunction prior to V1, I will call either reject or continue. Standard low speed reject procedures below 80 knots. Between 80 knots and V1, I will only conduct a high speed reject in the case of a fire, engine failure, predictive wind shear warning, or if there's any other condition that makes the aircraft unsafe or unable to fly.
Ryanair,
I will simultaneously close the thrust levers, disconnect the auto throttle, apply maximum manual braking, or verify the operation of the RTO auto brake, verify the extension of the speed brake, and apply maximum
it's up to you what keys you set.
Bring the
You can set whatever keys you want.
Parking brake.
I've got control 0 to bring up the window, but you can set whatever keys you want. I recommend using control in conjunction with whatever key you choose, but it's up to you. Pick one. You set the keys in the option for you
I will continue the takeoff as per the company's standard procedures.
At the bottom on the
We
right
will then
side.
climb to the minimum safety altitude and track clear of local terrain. We are under our maximum landing weight, so we are okay to make an immediate
the vectors,
return. All going well, the departure route
they always
will
have
be
a choice,
via
SID
the
or
ATC
vector.
assigned standard instrument
It will be
departure,
random.
complying with all the published
Sometimes
speed
you
and
get a
altitude
SID,
restrictions.
sometimes
No
you
noise
get
abatement
a
procedures
vector.
required.
But
Flight
yes,
directors
it's
are
random.
on. Mine is master, yours is slave. Navigation radios are set. The NOTAMs and the aircraft defect log have been reviewed. Any questions, comments or concerns?
Not today.
Departure brief complete.
What you got to remember, this is an approximation of ATC.
Watch your leg, please.
It's not real ATC, so
Verify takeoff
we're
speeds.
following the rules, and the realism comes from us sticking to the rules and being guided by ProATC to the altitudes and on the correct flight path, into a hold if sometimes, and then to descend into our destination. But that's all pre-programmed. It's not AI. It can't register you know, when you're flying. It's just following a pre-programmed plan. If you deviate from that, and I'll get on to the waypoints, missing a waypoint, which some people have problems with. If you deviate from that plan, then it all goes tits up. So, and that's why if you use it properly, ProATC is brilliant, and the realism is second to none. But if you deviate, then obviously things start to go wrong, and then you're playing catch up all the time. The more you use it, the easier it is to get back on track, which is hopefully what I'll show you tonight. Yeah, I can't really do a lot about that, Clive. I'm sorry about that. I've struggled to get the volume up, but let me see if I can alter that a bit.
Start approved. Temperatures at 9, the QNH is 1009, runway 27.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of myself and the crew, I'd like to wish you a very warm welcome aboard our Boeing 737. My name is Sarah, and having me in the cabin today are Tom and Michelle. Please place all large items in the attachments provided, or under the seat in front of you.
Is that better? Or has my voice gone down as well?
So 42 Mike, vacate next right, enter the apron at Victor, parking stand 11.
Next right, Victor, 1142 Mike.
027 Victor Foxtrot, contact Manchester 124.2 by.
142, 027 Victor Foxtrot, goodbye.
Tap 25 there, clear takeoff, 210 degrees 19.
Can you still hear me okay? Give me a yay or nay.
Direct there, just crossing the control zone boundary now, no height restriction.
That's better, I think. You can hear me okay, yeah? Excellent. Okay, let's get this off
Echo
the
India,
ground.
Oscar Whiskey Foxtrot, taxified, Romeo Golf Hotel
Checked.
to parking position 30.
Via Romeo Golf Hotel to parking position 30EIOWN.
Yeah, I'll get off the ground and then we'll talk some more once we're in the air.
Stone 40 Mike, vacate next right, enter the apron at Victor, parking stand 8.
Copy to ground.
Go ahead.
Please disconnect the GPU and air.
Roger. Disconnected the GPU and air.
Stone 40 Mike,
Captain, the
vacate
GPU
next
and air
right,
are
enter the apron at
disconnected.
Victor,
Thanks.
parking stand 8.
Copy to ground.
Go ahead.
Are we clear to pressurize the hydraulics?
Roger, you're clear to pressurize the hydraulics.
Thanks.
Hey guys, all packs are on board. Are we clear to close?
Yes, you're clear to close.
Thanks. See you up there.
Before start checklist to the line.
Before start checklist to the line. Fuel 7.0 tons, pumps on. Passenger signs on. Windows
Locked.
locked. MCP.
V2 is 154, heading 027, altitude, flight level 80,
Checked. Takeoff speeds.
V1 is 131, VR is 133, V2 is 144,
Checked. CDU pre-flight.
completed,
Rudder and aileron trim.
free and 0,
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
completed.
Before start checklist completed to the line.
Grant Ryanair 53903. Request start up and pushback.
Ryanair 53903, start up and pushback approved.
Approved. Ryanair 53903.
Before start checklist below the line.
Flight deck door closed and locked. Anti-collision light on. Before start checklist complete.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback. Locking gear.
Section 43, proceed to Sierra.
Okay, not long now. I'll get pushed back and get in the air, and we'll... any more questions?
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted. Release parking brakes. Commencing push. All engines clear.
Start sequence is 2, then 1.
Check.
Start number 2 engine.
Starting 2. Oil pressure.
It's all about flying an aircraft. It's all about procedures and routines. I could do this blindfolded now. I've flown it so many times, and I suppose real pilots get into that situation as well. It becomes second nature.
Cutout.
It's just that they practice emergencies as well. I'll have to start doing
Number 2
that.
stable.
Start number 1 engine.
Starting 1.
There are 8 emergency exits, 2 at the front, 1 left and 1 right.
Oil pressure.
2 doors at the rear of the cabin, 1 left and 1 right. There are 4 overwing exits in the centre of the cabin, 2 left and 2 right. Please note the nearest exit to you, which may be behind.
I got to be honest, I love ProATCs. FS the crew.
In the event of sudden loss of cabin pressure, oxygen masks will automatically drop.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Hold down firmly to start the flow of oxygen. Place the mask over your nose.
So we just let
and
that EGT
breathe.
climb a bit. M1's coming up.
Your life jacket can be found
N2's okay, so we can give the confirmation good engine start.
Remove the jacket from its pouch.
And he'll come and release us now from the tug.
Starter cutout.
To inflate the life jacket, pull down sharply on the red toggle.
Flaps
5. Number 1 stable.
And alight to attract attention. Do not inflate your life jacket inside the cabin, as it will show with a future exit. Further information may be found on the in-flight safety card. Please would you now ensure your seatbelt is securely fastened, your seat back is upright, your armrests are down, your tray table is up, and your window blinds are open. Thank you for your attention and we wish you a pleasant flight.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed.
Flight controls check. Full left. Full right. Center.
Check.
Full up. Full down. Center.
Check.
Full left. Full right. Center.
Check.
Before taxi checklist, please.
Before taxi checklist. Generators on. Probe heat on.
Left is clear.
Anti-ice
Right is clear.
off. Isolation valve. Auto. Engine start switches. Continuous. Recall. Checked. Auto brake. RTO. Engine start levers.
Idle detent.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Dispatch clearance.
Checked.
Before taxi checklist complete.
He stands there, the guy, waving, and I always get a horrible feeling I should wave back. Okay, off we go.
Tombstone 40 right, vacate next right, into the apron of Victor, parking stand 8.
Grant Ryanair 53903, request taxi.
Ryanair 53903, taxi via to runway 03.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Clive. It becomes rote after a while. You just go through it like a... Okay, clearance to taxi.
Clear left.
Clear right.
And off we jolly will go. I must say, this new NGXU, the taxiing they've got perfect now. It's lovely to taxi.
740 right, vacate next right, into the apron of Victor, parking stand 8.
As long as you don't get too fast. Oh, you know what I've missed? All this talking. They've only put me on the short runway at Prestwick. Oh, that's another thing I wanted to say. You can edit the airports. I'm glad they've done that, because you can actually edit the airports. Let me pause this a second, I'll show you. So what they've done, they've actually given me the short runway. Look, that's going to be an exciting takeoff. Now, I'm not sure. I might have left it too late to ask for another runway, but we'll see.
Electric 43, proceed to Sierra.
Now, unfortunately, it's too late to ask for another runway, but in order to not go through this in future, what you can do, if you I'm not sure if it's going to let me do it. Yeah, it might do. Oh no, that's red, so you can't get to it. What you can do, you can actually remove the runways that you won't be using. Just tick the box or untick the box, and ProATC won't use that runway anymore. I keep forgetting to do it for this airport, but anyway, let's have an exciting takeoff, shall we?
ET639, taxi uniform, only point Alpha 2. Uniform Alpha 2, runway 27, thank you, ET639.
I might have to up the flaps, I think. Stick it up the flaps 10 or something, perhaps.
Vacate right into the apron of Victor, parking stand 5.
Yeah, you might have to flap your arms as well. Quite a long taxi at this airport if you get this what is it, runway 22 I think is the long one. 4 and 22 I think. See what I mean? If this gets too fast, it gets out of control. You've got to keep that speed down on this NGX. 15's okay, maybe a bit less. I could kick myself for not recognising that runway. Never mind.
Next right, Victor, 1142 Mike. 127 Victor Foxtrot, contact Manchester 124.2 Mike. 142, 27 Victor Foxtrot, good Mike. Tap 250, clear takeoff, 210 degrees 19.
Jason, yes, it is compatible. I've used it with version 5 and it works just the same. In fact, I noticed it actually worked better. I didn't get it. Sometimes you get a hesitation when you switch frequencies at the very start when you start off, and I noticed that in the NGX in version 5, no problems at all. Just switched manually, and it was straight away. I got the ATC up, no problem. I use UT Live, Ultimate Traffic Live. So anyone got any more questions regarding ProATC? Hi Adam, sorry I missed you there mate, hello.
Tombstone 40 right, vacate next right, into the apron of Victor, parking stand 8.
I just love the ambience with that ATC in the background. It's just makes it so much better. And once you start, you know, if you get more, I mean, there's loads of voices, don't forget, on the in the files section on the Facebook page. I've got Norway, China, I think. There's quite a few now that we've got, and they're really easy to install. And if anyone needs to know how to do that, ask me, and I've actually got a video, I think, that you can watch that shows you how to do it. Yeah, Jason, I've got 5, but I'm not using it at the moment till they've sorted it out a little bit better. I know Adam will disagree with me. He's running like a dream.
Electric 43, vacate right at Foxtrot.
And guys, let me know what you think of the scenery once we get airborne. Those trees, in case you're interested, are courtesy of Terra Flora. Okay, I'm going to get my head down now for the runway, so I'll be back in a sec.
Before takeoff checklist, please. Flaps 5, green light.
Stabilizer trim
6.0 units.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
ET639, taxi uniform, only point Alpha 2. Uniform Alpha 2, runway 27, thank you, ET639.
And normally on a normal backtrack runway, you'd stop at the lines back there and ask for clearance, but being as this runway's hardly ever used, I know there's not going to be anything taken off on it, so. Oh, that's another thing. You can, if you get a situation like this, you can force ProATC to give you clearance. So if you got a runway that you've got a backtrack on, like we're doing now, you can ask stop at the lines, and ProATC will give you clearance. And then once you've lined up on the correct runway, you'll get clearance to take off. So yeah, quite realistic. It goes a long way to add to the realism. This runway's not too bad. It's not as short as I thought it was. It won't be a rolling start though. We'll get a head of steam up before we release the brakes.
Check speed.
762 knots approved. Temperatures at 9 Phoenix 1009. Runway 27.
Yeah, you let this get too quick, this NGX. You and it sort of gets away from you. You've got to keep the speed down on taxi. And yet, when you're rolling on takeoff, it's quite easy to keep in a straight line. Okay, I'll ask for clearance now.
So 42 mile, vacate next right into the apron at Victor, parking stand 11.
Next right, Victor, 1142 Mike.
L27 Victor Foxtrot, contact Manchester 124.2 Mike. 142, L27 Victor Foxtrot, good one. Sound 250, clear takeoff, 210 degrees 19.
Tower, Ryanair, 53903, at runway 03, ready for departure.
Ryanair 53903. Contact tower on 118.15.
118.15. Ryanair 53903.
30 meters remaining. Approaching 03.
Before takeoff procedure.
Check.
On runway 03.
5 minutes 4185, expect to take off 27 left 7 with the 340 degrees 12. Middle 823, stay on the right after copy 77 depart right up 27.
Captain, the cabin still isn't secure.
Lazy sods in the back today.
Tower, Ryanair 53903. Hold it short, runway 03, ready for departure.
Ryanair 53903, line up runway 03.
Lining up runway 03. Ryanair 53903.
Ryanair 53903, wind 060.
That's what we're waiting for. Sometimes it's a little bit problematic on a backtrack like this, so just ease forward until you're right into that the green dot on the map, and you should get your clearance, which we've now got. So here goes nothing.
Set takeoff thrust.
Thrust set. 80 knots.
Checked.
V1, rotate. Positive rate.
Gear up. Engage LNAV.
LNAV.
Set flaps up speed.
Bug up.
Ryanair 53903, with you passing 800 for the line of
Bug up is set.
Ryanair 53903. climb to flight level 80.
Climbing to flight level 80. Ryanair 539
Easy 889er. Maintain present altitude.
Present altitude. EC 889er.
Foxtrot Golf Hotel Whiskey. Maintain present altitude.
Present altitude. FFG-HW.
Hotel Bravo Quebec Golf Charlie. Maintain present altitude.
Present altitude.
Oh, a bit bumpy up here.
792. Maintain present altitude. Present altitude. Jersey 792.
Flaps 1. Flaps 1.
Ryanair 53903. Turn right heading 080.
Right turn heading 080. Ryanair 539
Departure Easy 77. With you passing 500 or 5,000. Easy 77. Identified. Climb to 5,000. Climbing to 5,000. Easy 77.
Yeah, that was a short runway, but yeah, made it. Had plenty in the end.
Transition.
Easy 889.
Set standard. Standard set. Passing flight level 066. Set standard. Standard set. Passing flight level 068. Now. 1000 to level.
Reduce speed to 150. Slowing down to 150. Jersey 792. Ryanair 53903. Climb and maintain flight level 230.
Climb and maintain flight
Flaps
level
up.
230.
Flaps up.
Ryanair 539
God, them buttons are hard to get to when it's bouncing around.
Ryanair 53903. Turn right heading 215.
Right turn heading 215. Continue on navigation to Lima Uniform Charlie Oscar. Ryanair 539.
Yeah, following the vectors with this is not so much. You just follow the flight plan basically, because the vectors appear to be built in. Yeah, I normally would, but it's just as easy to follow the flight plan. I've done this so many times now that I know that the vectors they give me are going to pretty much mirror the flight plan. So I just let the autopilot follow it. If you want to follow procedure, you can do that. I mean, there's nothing stopping you doing that. But especially when it's bouncing around in this chop, it's really hard to keep the mouse wheel on the button that you're trying to turn. So Hayden, what do you want me to walk through? Is there anything you want in particular to know about? In fact, anyone got any questions regarding ProATC? The next lesson will be the hopefully, if we get it, the hold. I've set it up so that we should get a hold, but we'll see. So we've been given our cruising altitude, which is 23,000. There's not a lot to do now except sit back and listen to the ProATC Chatter and look at the pretty clouds. When we're settled at the altitude, I'll stick it on fast flight, so we'll get down a lot quicker than we would normally. So yeah, while you're there, any questions, if you can think of them, just jot them down and I'll go through whatever.
Visual with the other traffic, Delta 6.
Okay, right, so traffic on your left hand side is 172 at 1,800 feet, continuing northbound.
Copy, looking at
Copy, the Victor to the London City Zone, VFR from 2,000 feet to 4,000
Yes, Gerhan, I'm using FS to Crow. You can't see any of the boxes because I move them onto the other screen. It's I prefer it like when you're streaming, it makes it more realistic if I'm lucky enough to have another screen on the my PC, so I put everything on the other screen so it doesn't obscure the view. But I'm using FS to Crew and Chase Plane. Yeah, Chase Plane I use. Maybe we'll some outside views.
Heli speed 24 guidance, runway 2181028 millibars.
Ryanair 5393, contact Scottish on 119.87. Bye bye.
192.87. Ryanair 5393.
Oh right, let's talk about that. That's I'm glad you brought that up, Clive. That's quite important. I didn't want to miss that. Okay, I'm going to try and miss a waypoint. I'm not sure I'm going to do that.
Belt sign to auto?
After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds. On. Packs. Auto. Landing gear. Up and off. Flaps. Up. No lights. After takeoff checklist complete.
Yes.
Check. Happy to release the cabin crew?
Yes.
Check.
Detune the navs.
Roger.
Set.
When we get to the top of descent, I'll show you what I do. It doesn't pay to blindly follow what your flight plan says, because although the flight computer's clever, sometimes it doesn't always get you down to the altitude that you need to be at, and that goes for ATC as well in ProATC. So you need to judge it for yourself as much as anything. For instance, if you look at the flight plan, it says you've got to be at 6,000 feet and you're still at 20, you know you're going to have to do some shifty moving to get down to that altitude. So it's best if you preempt that and get down earlier. Right, I was trying to explain the other day about lots of people get the problem where they miss a waypoint, and once they've missed the waypoint, all they get is ProATC saying turn back to that waypoint, and it can be a right pain, but it's really simple to get over. And basically all you do is ask for the next waypoint that you're approaching, as long as you've got enough room. If you haven't got enough room for that waypoint, make it the waypoint after. I'll try and show you. So obviously I've not missed any waypoints at this moment in time, and that's why, another tip, make sure you keep your map handy. You need to cross-check the waypoint in the cockpit with the waypoint on the map, and as long as they match, you're not going to have any problems. If, however, for some reason you miss a waypoint, all you need to do is go to other requests, direct to waypoint. Now, I hope I can explain this. The waypoint we're approaching is Osmeg, which means the one after that, let's switch that map up a bit, is Ripno. Let's assume that you've missed Ripno and DCS and you're heading for Lakey, and all of a sudden you think, oh sod it, I've missed them waypoints. And the reason you suddenly realise it is because ProATC is saying turn to a heading of so and so, because it wants you back at that Ripno waypoint, which is still showing in the map. The way round that, you might be at, let's say you've reached Calder, so you're approaching Calder, yeah? You've passed the bunny and you're approaching Calder, but the waypoint in the map is Ripno. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waypoints that you've missed, and that does happen. I've had it myself. Now, ProATC will not let you ask for Calder. What you need to do is ask for the next waypoint in sequence. So ask for DCS. When they say yes, and they will say yes, once you've cleared that, ask for Lakey. Once they've cleared that, ask for Vaymed. Once they've cleared that, at that point you could probably ask for Calder and get it okay. But if not, just ask for Vaymed and then O'Bunny and then Calder, and it will put you back on track. That works every time. But so you haven't got a, you know, it's a real pain if that happens, so just don't worry about it. Once you follow those that simple rule, you'll have no problems. Yeah, that's right, Clive, and that's the same with waypoints. It's very easy to miss a waypoint if you're not paying attention. Yeah, the clouds are courtesy of I always forget the bloody name of it now. P3D and Rex Skyforce and Rex Environment. I'm also using Env Direct for the shaders and that, you know.
Are you requesting any higher this time? Affirmative, with appreciate level 310, please.
Right, Hayden, what was that? Same question as Clive. During departure, what happens if you... Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. Basically, you need to cross all of those waypoints, and if you miss one, as I said, just ask for the... You have to ask for them in order. So if you've missed 4, you need to go back to the one after you've missed and ask for that one, and then do it in sequence until you get to the one that you're approaching. Once you've done that, you're back on track. That's right, Clive. Basically, tell them who's boss.
Flight level 230. Ryanair 5393. Roger. Continue O navigation. Continue O navigation. Ryanair 5393.
Right, so we're cruising at 23. I'm going to stick that onto speed up.
Maintaining flight level 230 on standard. Check.
Just check how far we've got till top of descent. Yeah, we've got a little while yet, so let's have a look. Progress. 184 miles, yeah, it's plenty of time.
1344. Climb and maintain. Flight
Okay,
level
plenty of time to
310.
ask questions, if anyone's got any. If there's anything I haven't covered, or that you want covered, or that you're worried about, or whatever. Yeah, telling ATC out or AEC, that's what you got to do, mate. You're the pilot, you're in charge.
Return 116, climb to level 310.
Cruiser 116, climb to level 310.
I know most of you've probably joined the ProATC page, but if you haven't, it's well worth joining the page, because people ask questions there all the time, and I try as much as I can to get the answers out to you as quickly as I can. Plus you'll get, if there's any voices become available, then that's where you'll find them. That's absolutely right, Clive. Yeah, definitely. And you know, I know because it's a flight sim, we like to fly at different places, but once you've flown a route a few times, it's surprising how quick you get to know that and know what altitude you should be at, etc, etc. So if the ATC's got you a bit high, you can ask for a altitude reduction, and normally they give it to you with no problem, unless there's a restriction at that point. Normally you'll get the reduction in altitude with no problems, but ProATC does use the charts pretty strictly, and they do follow, and you can cross check with the charts, and yeah, they're pretty good.
Manchester Center, Speedbird 1463, good day. With you, bossing.
Well, the reason I've only got that, Hayden, is because I've just reinstalled I've just reinstalled ProATC, because I didn't follow the rules. I didn't see that notice until the other day when I was on the forum, and I thought, oh dear, I didn't install it that way. No wonder I was getting glitches. But I uninstalled it and copied out all the voices that I'd imported, followed the instructions, flew one flight, then I installed the air rack and everything, and make runways, done everything that should be done, and yeah, it's copied all the voices back, and it's been fine. Yeah, that tends to be a bit of a glitch, Gerhan. All I can suggest is that when the Airbus came out, we had to, using FSU IPC, you have to create a button to switch the frequencies. So I'll show you. If I press the button that I've set, you see that switches the frequencies from standby to active. Just make sure I'm back on this correct one. If you set that button up in FSU IPC, it does help, because you can switch back and forward, and all of a sudden it will catch and off it goes. I've never had to abandon a flight because I couldn't connect. At the worst, if it gets really bad, just close ProATC and restart it, and that should sort it out. So yeah, switch to another channel and then turn back again. and it's always COM 1, never COM 2, so always COM 1. And this works in all the light aircraft, all the radios in the light aircraft, as long as you've got the correct frequency set. You might have to, in the light aircraft, you have to set manually, but it's no big deal. I've got the Bonanza, the A2A Bonanza, and you just set the frequency manually and get ATC, and they guide you on your flight, no problem. And you've got light aircraft that you can select within ProATC, so it's got the Bonanzas in there as well, I think. Plus you can add aircraft if you need to. Yeah, Adam, I do advise that you reinstall the way I said. I saw your question earlier, but you'd gone before I could answer it. So the answer to that is yes. I highly recommend that you uninstall and reinstall it and follow those instructions. Right, okay, it's time to come out of... Right, I'm going to be head down for a short while I get it prepared for the descent. Okay, top of descent's not far off now. Yeah, I did this flight the other day just to test out, because I was going to use it for this stream, and we got the hull no problem. So there's our descent winds coming up. There we go. Quite windy, 19 knots. Let's check the weather.
Ever try? Have one.
Yeah, look like we got showers, light showers and overcast at 5,000 feet. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of a misty approach. Which is nice. Right, let's give the passengers the heads up.
From the flight deck, this is the captain speaking. Just to let you know that we'll shortly be starting our descent into our destination. So I'd just like to take this final opportunity to say thank you very much for flying with us today. We hope you've had a pleasant flight, and we look forward to seeing you all again in the very near future. And please also have a safe and a pleasant onward journey. Thank you all very much.
Obviously, yes, Clive. Chase planes, what I use. Hayden, I don't use VATSIM for the simple reason there's never any controllers on. You know, very rarely. If they're having a flight across the pond or whatever, then yeah, they get controllers. But my dream would be to set up something like Pilot Edge, but worldwide, with paid controllers working from home that controlled all the airspaces all over the world for us flight simmers. But I don't suppose that will be happening anytime soon.
British 435 within the navigation direct to
Unless I win the lottery.
United 929 within your navigation direct to Margo.
Navigation direct to Margo for United 929, thank you.
Manchester.
So to answer your question, Hayden, no, I don't use VATSIM. I use ProATC all the time. Yes, Gerhan, always COM 1. It's never on COM 2, always COM 1. And if you want, hang on a sec, I'll show you that, if I can, I'll show you that button that you need to set. If you've got FSU IPC, bear with me. Bear with me, guys, we're going blank for a little while. That's the one you want. So you press the button that you wanna use on your joystick or your keyboard, and then you look for COM standby radio swap. Okay, so under the C's, COM standby radio swap. You might want to write that down, Gerhan. Click OK. And then when you press the button in question, it switches the frequencies. And that's a good way to get ProATC sorted working. But you'll also probably need it in the Airbuses as well. You'll need to set that. Yeah, I never thought of that, Adam. That's pretty good actually. Vacant sim, yeah, you're right. Okay, top of descent's just the other side of Pedig, the current waypoint. So, and I dare say they're going to take us down to about 16,000, I think. So I'll set that. Right, now we'll know that we're going to get the hold if he drops us to 10,000 feet after we've passed Clippy, which is the start of the star pretty much, because the next waypoint is where the hold will be, which is Bombo. And you'll be able to tell if you've set a particular altitude, entry altitude for your hold. If they give you that altitude, then you're pretty certain you're going to get the hold. We're flying into Stansted, Adam. That's exactly right, Clive. Wouldn't that be brilliant? I never asked you, what did you think of the scenery? Not sure if you got much of a view of it when we departed, but you'll see it when we get down again towards Stansted. And the reason I ask that is because although I've got all of the orbit scenery, UK, etc., all of Europe and that, there we go, down to 20,000. Just do the descent checklist.
Descent checklist, please. Descent checklist. Pressurization. Landing altitude is 100 feet. Recall checked. Auto brake. Level 2. Landing data.
VREF 141 minimums 0 feet.
Checked. Approach briefing.
Completed.
Descent checklist complete.
Hi Hayden, yes mate, yeah it is. I've got DCS as well, yeah. That is just amazing. But I just haven't got enough time to learn all the stuff. It drives you nuts. I'm getting old now, I'll probably be dead by the time it all comes out. Never mind. Oh, sorry, Clive. No, I was saying, no, I've got all of that, but all I'm using now is FTX Global, Orbix Global, which is the base that you need for everything else, and Black Marble base, but more importantly, Black Marble Vector, which goes on top of base, and that gives you amazing, all the roads, the villages, they're all packed in as they should be, all the houses and that. Looks amazing, and that's all I'm using. Better follow the instructions. Talking about ATC and then go and ignore them. Yeah, you can't really see it from this height, but as we get closer to the ground, you'll get a glimpse of it.
1,000 to level.
Hey, Clive, I know that feeling, mate. I've lost count of the times I fell asleep in front of my PC. Yes, Hayden. I think we all hope that MS 2020 is going to be or live up to the hype, but we'll see. Them old clouds look nice. So if we're going to get this hold, then they should be dropping us down to 10,000 feet shortly. That's a British Airways in front of us that you can see in the distance, and he's going to London Heathrow. Yes, Hayden, yeah. When ProATC first came out, the holds were in there. You didn't have to program them, but later editions you have to program the holds yourself, which is handy. I mean, what I've done is I've pre-programmed a few airports with holds, and you set it to about 80%, and then you may or may not get one, and that puts that randomness in, which is brilliant, because you know, you're flying along, sometimes you go straight in, just in real life. Okay, 15,000. It will be ironic if this time on this route I don't get the hold. It's nice to have a hold, because if you're a bit high or maybe too low, you've got time to set yourself up and get yourself exactly as you want to be for the approach. No, Gerhan, it's Orbix Global, or FTX Global they call it as well, which is the base. When you go to Orbix, you'll see it's the base that covers the world, does the whole world, and it gives you much better scenery than the one that's in P3D. And then on top of that, I've got Black Marble, which does night lighting, and Black Marble Vector, which does all the roads, villages, everything, you know, puts them where they should be. Yeah, pretty much none at all, I'd say. Right, he's taken me down to 11,000, so it looks like we're not going to get the hold this time, which is really unfortunate. But there you go, that's the nature of it, totally random. So next time I fly it with no one watching, I'll get the hold, you watch. But I do believe this video, let me check, yeah, that video, this flight that I did as a practice, is in my list. It's in the videos. So if you want to see that hold, if we don't, oh no, look, there it comes. We've got it. That's handy. Okay. Take back what I said. Right. So into hold. Bombo. That's it. That holds in there now. Now look. I'm going to be showing you a trick now. Right, let me just show you this. You see that green dot? That's one of the waypoints in the hold. Now, in all probability, right, this hold won't match. You know, now I've said that, it probably will. You wait. Just to prove me wrong. But the last time I did this, the hold was out of kilter. So it had me turning earlier than the waypoint in the hold on ProATC. So what I did, I took control, took it off of, didn't take it off of, put it on heading hold, and I used the heading to turn in at the correct times, which is something you might have to do if you get this situation arise. But let's see. At the moment it looks like we're pretty much on track, judging from where the aircraft is on the map and on the in the cockpit. So we'll just see. Yeah, so sometimes these are just a bit out of kilter. The holds that you put in through the FMC are slightly out of kilter with the one on the ProATC map. If that's the case, then you'll need to use heading hold to match with the ProATC map, so that you cross every waypoint. Right, it's taken us down to 10,000, which is the entry altitude for this hold. Now we'll be in this hold as long as it takes to get us down to eventually 6,000 feet. So here we go. You see at the top coming across, enter holding at Bombo, descend to 6,000, reduce speed to 200 knots. So down to 6,000. You don't need to wait till you get in the hold to do that. Reduce the speed. I reduce it to 199 so that I'm just below that 200 to make sure that we reach that criteria. Right now, you see, let me just pause that a sec. Right, can you see we've reached the turning point on the hold here, but on the map we've still got a little way to go. So in order to get over that, what you do is you switch to heading select. Oh, wrong way. Switch to heading select and keep watching the map. Keep watching your ProATC map, and when we get to the green waypoint of the hold, you'll see it jump over here, or maybe even here. When it does, that's when we start our turn. And as long as you cross those waypoints, you'll have no problem at all. So all we've got to do now is match the speed, 200 knots, and the altitude, 6,000 feet, and we're now descending. So I'll be working the heading and turning. So look, that's changed now. Can you see that's moved over there? So we can start our turn. And basically all you do is you watch the map and make sure, using the heading bug, that you cross that green waypoint. Yes, Clive. Turn off LNAV and use heading hold. And then you don't have to worry about re-engaging LNAV until you're back on your route. So at the moment you're going to be using heading hold. And there, look, you see the aircraft's turning towards the waypoint. So I'm watching that, and I'm turning towards the waypoint all the time. Here, look, see the waypoint's moved again. It's gone up to there now. So we're going to turn and we're going to fly up this side and
Ladies and gentlemen, as we
The
start
cabin
the
is
descent,
secure.
please make sure your seat backs and tray tables are in their full upright position. Make sure your seat belt is securely fastened and all carry-on luggage is stowed underneath the seat in front of you or in the overhead bin. Please turn off all electronic devices until you are safely parked at the gate.
Transition.
yeah, I've just noticed that for some reason we're going in the wrong
1000
direction,
to level.
so I'm turning round to get us back into the right direction. (2016) ETA. Yes, I use Navigraph with ProATC. That's all I use actually. Yeah, it was last updated in March 2018. So, you know, it wouldn't take a lot to for him to get back on into the swing of things. And to be honest with you, apart from some of the glitches that we get, I don't think there's a lot more can be done to it. Yeah. Carrying passengers never have any idea what's going on. We're always in the dark. Okay, I'm now back on track, as you can see. So we're at 6,000 feet. I'm going to drop that speed down just a touch, just to get us under that 200. And
glide slope alive.
And the way you tell that you've been given the all clear is just here. It says holding, and that gives you exactly what you should be, your heading and that. And as long as you match those and the speed, eventually once you've reached that criteria, the hold will disappear and you'll be given your next waypoint, which is Laurel. Yeah, that would be an advantage, to be able to tell that you know, you'd flown over that waypoint, so just give you the next one, as opposed to asking you to go back to it. Yeah, definitely, that would be a big improvement. Okay, we match all the criteria now, so hopefully we should be getting the clearance very shortly. No, unfortunately, Clive, it doesn't do that. That's another thing that would be... There we go. We've just got our clearance to... so I shall update the FMC. So next waypoint. And we're back on track. So there you go, guys, a successful hold, and as long as you match that criteria, and the reason I wasn't given that clearance earlier is because I noticed I wasn't at 200 knots or below. I was just about 2 or 3 knots over. Directly I've reduced, put the air speed brake out and dropped the speed down a bit, we got the clearance. I know, I put it on the wrong heading, didn't I? Which is why I had to turn round. We got there in the end, though. That's the main thing. See, the pilots don't tell you that. When you're sitting in the back, when they cock up, you can't see it. Okay, back on track. Let's stick it back on VNAV, and we'll follow the oh, that sky looks nasty. Yeah, I certainly will, Clive, as and when I speak to him. I've not spoken to him for a very long time, however, but you could also mention it to Alpha 117, the other Clive, who's in close contact with the developer. We see him on the Facebook page now and again. So guys, if you got any more questions, let me know before we land. And remember, this video will be available on my channel for you to watch at any time to refresh your memories if there's anything you missed. I'm not sure. It was quite a serious accident. I think he almost cut his hand off, if I'm not mistaken. So, you know, work that one out for yourself. When you think you need both hands to program. Yeah, that's nice of you, Clive. I mean, if you can get in touch with him via the other Clive and let him know, then, you know, I'm sure he'd be appreciative of that offer. I know at one stage we had a guy that was actually an ATC. He was an ATC controller that was advising on procedures and such like. So I know for a fact that they got pretty much all of that squared away correctly. Okay, we're just crossing BKY. We're heading now for Buster, which is the next waypoint, and then we'll be decelerating, getting ready for the final approach onto runway 4, I believe. Yeah, 4. And while I've got your attention, if any of you come across any ATC files, I'm looking for, in particular, Italy. I'll edit those and get them up so you can put them into the program. And I've never had any Italy files. I don't know if they are a bit stricter with their ATC, but yeah, if you come across any Italy, please pass them along. I think Norway's available now. Okay, cleared into ILS4. Transition is Laurel. And here comes the rain. Bit of a murky approach. So how did I do, guys, verbally? As you know, those that watch my channel now and again, I don't talk, but I've been encouraged to verbalise, so perhaps you'll hear me rabbiting on a bit more in the future. Okay, once we cross Laurel, we'll start our descent, which is, oh, you know, I forgot to do something. Our approach, our final fix is 2,500. 2500. 200 minimums. 2500.
Are you ready for the approach brief?
Okay.
The arrival routing will be via the ATC assigned standard terminal.
Thank you, sir. That is much appreciated.
All published speed and altitude restrictions.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Planning of flaps 30.
I was really nervous about this, I can tell you.
Final
Kept me
approach
up
fix
last
is
night.
250
Silly boy.
feet. Decision altitude is 20.
Oh look, we got some lights.
Missed approach altitude is 2.
There you go, that's black marble lights for you.
Feet. Taxi route will be assigned by ATC. We'll be arriving at a gate. Descent speed and navigation radius are set. Airport NOTAMs have been reviewed. Any questions, comments or concerns?
Not today.
Approach brief complete.
Right, we passed Laurel, so I'm going to reduce. We've been told to descend to 3,000, so we'll do that. Let's up the ante a little bit. Bit of speed brake. Yeah, as you know, these 737s are a bugger to slow down if you get too fast. Actually, I quite enjoyed chatting tonight, and yeah, I think I'll probably do it again. It's nice when you get feedback as well.
$5,000.
So guys, what do you think of the scenery? Bearing in mind that I'm only using FTX Global and Black Marble Vector. It's a lot lighter on frames, and yeah, I think it looks quite nice. And I shall probably, once it's settled itself, use the same in V5. Okay, we're on a nice path now, coming down nicely. You see that turn right. Don't worry too much, just follow your navigation, just follow your route now, because you'll be turning onto that heading shortly anyway, and it gives you a little bit more time to descend. Never be rushed. Right, let's reduce the speed, get the gear, get the flaps out shortly. Down to 2.5.
Approach checklist.
Altimeters.
1013.
1013. Approach checklist complete.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 5.
Flaps 5. Cabin crew, seats for landing. Cabin is seated. 1000 to level.
Yeah, try and get at least flaps 5 before you hit that final approach. Otherwise you're going to find yourself struggling to slow down. Right, here comes our clearance for final approach. Contact tower at the marker.
Gear down. Flaps 15.
Gear down. Flaps 15.
Flaps 30.
Flaps 30.
Yeah, them old lights look really nice, don't they? I've got
Final
the
approach fix, height checked. Missed approach altitude set.
Traffic.
Localizer alive.
Okay, just turning on to final now.
Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Speed brake.
Armed.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
Flaps 30. Green light.
Landing checklist complete.
Thanks, Hayden. Much appreciated, mate. Yeah, it struggles a little bit, and I must admit I'm looking forward to switching over to version 5 once I get that sorted, because that boost with DirectX 12 is definitely worth having, especially when you get to a situation where you've got lots of clouds and lots of lights, etc. You're welcome, Gerhan. Look forward to seeing you again. And thanks for all your nice comments, by the way. I really appreciate it. Yes, I'm using the new Active Sky beta, which at the moment's working perfect. Let's see what she looks like from outside.
Stable.
Approaching 0, 4.
Yeah, I must admit I'm looking forward to V5 for that extra little boost. See if we get some spray when we touch down.
Cleared.
Checked.
Landing.
Checked.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Speed brake up. Reverses normal. $60 knots.
Checked.
Auto brake disarmed.
Checked. Okay to clean up.
Check.
Ladies and gentlemen, for your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off to fasten seatbelt sign. Please check around your seat for any personal belongings you may have brought on board with you, and please use caution when opening the overhead bins, as heavy articles may have shifted around during the flight. We remind you to please wait until you're inside the terminal to use any electronic devices or to smoke in your designated areas. On behalf of the entire crew, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we are looking forward to seeing you on board again in the near future. Have a safe onward journey.
There you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and appreciate all the nice comments. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you again on my streams, and in general wherever we meet. So yeah, take care. And as I say, you require any more info, or you get stuck or anything, just give me a shout. No problem at all. So I'll bid you good night, gentlemen, and hopefully see you on another stream in the future. So bye for now. Clive, let me think on that one, mate. I'll 05 at Stansted. Yes, Adam, speak soon, mate. 206 is the latest, isn't it? Yeah, it is, yeah. 5. Is there a runway? Didn't think there was. Have you used Make Runways? Because you must use that every time you add, or I use it once a week anyway, whether I've installed airports or not. And also update the BGL, which you can get from Herv Source. If you leave me a message on the Facebook page, ProATC, and I'll get back to you on this one. Okay, guys, thanks very much for watching, and yep, I'll see you again in the near future. Take care. All the best. Bye for now.